All right, let's dive into one of the body's most amazing unsung heroes. We're talking about a tiny hormone that, believe it or not, single-handedly manages all the water in your body. It's the only thing standing between you and, well, either drying out like a raisin or drowning from the inside out.
So what is this microscopic manager? It's called antidiuretic hormone, or ADH for short, and its job is probably one of the most high-stakes balancing acts in your entire body.
I mean, think about it. Your body is roughly 60% water, and keeping that level exactly right isn't just a suggestion, it's a constant life-or-death mission. We're not just talking about feeling thirsty here. We're talking about keeping every single cell, especially in your brain, running perfectly. Okay, so let's get to know our main character in this story, ADH, the master regulator. It really is the body's incredibly elegant solution to this whole water balance problem. So what is it really? Well, ADH is made deep inside your brain, in a place called the hypothalamus. From there, it sends a very simple message down to your kidneys. That message is either hold on to water or let it go. You can literally think of ADH as your body's own personal dam operator. And this is where it gets really cool. When everything's working right, the system is just beautiful. It's a perfect feedback loop. Let's say you haven't had a drink in a while. Your brain senses your blood is getting a bit too concentrated. So boom, it releases ADH. Your kidneys get the message and start pulling water back into the blood. Then, as your blood gets diluted back to normal, the brain senses that and turns off the ADH signal. It's this perfect self-correcting cycle that happens all day, every day. But what happens when this perfect, elegant system breaks down? This is where our story gets pretty dramatic, because the failure here doesn't just cause a small problem, it throws the body into one of two opposite states of absolute chaos.
So on one hand, if you have way too little ADH, your body basically dries out. That's a condition called diabetes insipidus. On the complete other end of the spectrum, if you have too much ADH, your body floods itself. That's known as SIADH. It's two sides of the very same hormonal coin, and both are incredibly dangerous. So let's look at diabetes insipidus first. Without ADH telling them what to do, the kidneys' floodgates are just stuck wide open. They can't hold on to water, so you end up with massive, and I mean massive, water loss through urine. As you can imagine, this leaves the blood behind dangerously thick and concentrated.
Now let's flip that idea on its head for SIADH. In this case, the ADH signal is screaming, hold on to water nonstop. The kidneys just keep reabsorbing and reabsorbing, way too much. The body starts retaining all this excess fluid, which dangerously dilutes everything in your bloodstream. And this brings us to the real danger here. It's not just about having too much or too little water in your body. These huge shifts in water trigger a really dangerous domino effect, one that hammers your sodium levels and, most critically, your brain. And this chart just lays out the two extremes perfectly. With diabetes insipidus, you're looking at huge amounts of watery urine and an intense, unquenchable thirst. The real problem? Dehydration gets so bad that your brain cells literally start to shrivel up, causing confusion. With SIADH, it's the total opposite. Hardly any urine, and it's super concentrated. The big danger here is that your brain cells swell with too much water, leading to headaches and even seizures. Now, this right here is probably the most important point to get. While we talk a lot about sodium, these ADH disorders are, at their heart, a water problem. The sodium levels in the blood only go haywire, either too high or too low, because the amount of water they're dissolved in changes so dramatically. So in a really bad case of diabetes insipidus, so much water is lost that the sodium concentration just skyrockets, way above 150. This is the danger zone. At this point, water gets literally pulled out of your brain cells, causing them to shrink. This is a true medical emergency that can lead to coma. And the opposite danger. In SIADH, as the body floods with water, the sodium gets so diluted that it can drop below 125. In this danger zone, water rushes into the brain cells, causing them to swell up like water balloons. This is what we call cerebral edema, and it's what triggers those headaches, seizures, and can be just as fatal.
So after all that doom and gloom, how do we fix this? Well, the good news is once you understand what's going wrong, you can step in and help restore that delicate balance.
And diagnosing which problem you have is all about recognizing these perfectly opposite patterns. For DI, you look for high sodium in the blood along with tons of watery urine. For SIADH, it's the exact mirror image, low sodium in the blood and very little super concentrated urine. The lab tests tell the whole story.
So for DI, the dry state, the treatment is just logical. You have to replace what's missing. We give patients a synthetic version of ADH called desmopressin. It's basically the text message the kidneys were missing that says, hey, start holding on to water again. And of course, you have to aggressively replace all the fluids they've lost.
And for SIAD, the flooded state, you guessed it, the treatment is the complete opposite. Since the body is holding on to way too much water, the #1 treatment is to restrict how much fluid the person drinks. By limiting the water going in, you give the body a chance to slowly fix that dangerous dilution.
At the end of the day, it all comes down to this. The real life-or-death risk here isn't just about how much someone is peeing. It's about the rapid, dangerous shifts of water going into or out of brain cells. Correcting that imbalance and doing it carefully is absolutely everything. So you're left with this incredible picture. One single hormone that holds the power to create two completely opposite disasters. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other systems in our bodies are constantly walking on such a fine line between perfect balance and total chaos? Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.